Hello, Meeta Ben.
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to this on this Friday, and welcome all of you all to this show. અમારો આજનો પ્રયત્ન એવો રહેશે કે we tell you about what you have not seen Australian destination so far. Most of the things we are covering today would be something new, something that you have not yet experienced. So today on our talk show, we have Nishant with us. Nishant Kashikar is from Australia Tourism. He is the country manager for India and the Gulf countries. I welcome Nishant. Yeah, Nishant.
Thank you very much, Meeta Ben, for having me on this amazing chat show that you've been organizing. And a big hello to everyone who's joined in as well. I see there's some 47 guests who have joined in on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So big hello to each one of you. First and foremost, Meeta ji, to you and to the entire Flamingo team, a huge congratulations, because I believe this is your 25th anniversary. You started your operations way back in 1996. So a big congratulations to the entire team, 250-member team of Flamingo. That's one. Two, Flamingo symbolizes life balance and romance, right? And holidays are all about maintaining that work-life balance. And it's all about falling in love with the place, the people, and falling in love with your loved ones as well. With whom with whom you'll be traveling on a holiday. So you're truly representing the brand Flamingo in the real sense, and making people fall in love with wonderful places and wonderful experiences that this planet has to offer. And lastly, Meeta Ben, you've been an inspiration to a lot of women entrepreneurs. So keep inspiring others. Because you've been a legend in this industry, and there's lots that each one of us can learn from you, and especially women who manages business as well as their household. So thank you for inspiring the entire travel industry and for being such a wonderful person. And mostly thank you for having Tourism Australia on this show as well.
No, we thank you very much for being there. Nishant, we are very, very enthused by your job profile. Tell us something about your job, and how many times have you traveled to Australia?
Well, a lot of people are jealous about my job because, I say this is the best job in the world. And primarily because there's so much that you get to see on your job. And as I said, you're making people fall in love with your destination. It's about bringing the two countries closer, and there couldn't be a better cause than uniting people of two different countries. Because it's all about, I believe that tourism is all about world peace. And if people from two different countries start talking to each other, understanding each other's cultures, values, and beliefs, this world will be a much better place. On your question on how many times I've been to Australia, so Meeta Ben, I've spent almost a decade with in fact, I celebrated my 10th work anniversary with Tourism Australia just a little while ago.
Wow.
And if you consider an average of 3 trips a year, I would have been to Australia almost on 30 occasions. But let me tell you, this is a huge continent. Australia is almost 2.5 times the size of India, and I haven't still seen the whole of Australia. There's lots that needs to be discovered, and that's precisely what we're going to do today. We're going to take people on a virtual journey of Australia, all our followers on a virtual journey of Australia, and present why there's truly nothing like Australia. So let's start with all the 8 states of Australia and what each state has to offer. What is that unique thing that one should visit and experience when they travel to Australia?
That's a very good idea. Let's start. Over to you, Nishant.
All right. So let's start by each state. And I believe we could start off with the Northern Territory, which is not so much known in the Indian market.
Yes.
And the Northern Territory is actually called the spiritual capital of Australia, or it's called the heart of Australia, because it's quite sacred to the locals. It's quite sacred to the indigenous culture. and the Aboriginals who reside in that particular place and all across Australia as well. And there are two attractions that I wish to highlight in the Northern Territory. The first one is the Ayers Rock. Now, Ayers Rock is actually a huge sandstone monolith, or it's like a huge rock. This rock is actually taller than the Eiffel Tower.
Oh,
Take a walk around the circumference or the perimeter of that particular rock, it's almost 9.5 kilometers. And whilst this rock is approximately around 350 meters in height, it's 2.5 kilometers beneath the soil. So
okay.
it's like an iceberg in the middle of a desert. It's an iceberg on land. And it's quite sacred. There are people who do helicopter tours of this particular rock. You do walking tours. There are Segway tours as well. And another experience that I wish to highlight is the Field of Light experience that was, inaugurated in March 2018. And this whole experience was created by this artist called Bruce Munro. Now, the Field of Light is like 50,000 solar illuminated glass stems in the middle of a desert that lit up, in the desert as soon as as soon as the sun sets. And it's quite
Okay.
a spectacular and as I said, a spiritual experience there. There are a lot of Aboriginal performances that you can enjoy while having a dinner, a nice seven-course dinner in the middle of the desert under a canopy of stars. There's a didgeridoo player. There are the Aboriginals who perform their local dances. They talk about the history and the culture of Australia. They take you on a storytelling experience of the country. It's I must say it's one of the most fabulous experiences that I have participated so far at
I have
Tourism
never heard
Australia.
of anything like this before.
Yeah, and somebody who has never been to Australia, or at least have been to Australia and experienced the East Coast, they've been to Great Barrier Reef, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne. Maybe it's a good idea to visit the Field of Light and Ayers Rock, because there are good flight connections from Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Cairns. And as soon as the borders open, I would encourage you to book your holiday and experience the Field of Light. This is equivalent to almost 7 football fields. And you have the majestic rock in the backdrop as well. So we have this amazing video, but before playing the video, we'll ask you a question. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, we're going to ask you a
Engage
question
our audience.
for
Hello,
each, yeah,
audience.
for all the audiences. We're going to ask a question for each state. And the person who answers the maximum number of questions correctly is going to get a goodie bag from Tourism Australia and Flamingo.
Yeah.
So the question is, there's an Aboriginal name for Ayers Rock, right? That's what the locals call it. So you need to name what is the Aboriginal name for Ayers Rock. And till you answer this question, we'll play this video and take you on a virtual journey of this fabulous rock.
Ayers Rock is very much iconic of Australia.
Can we play the video?
Yes.
The Field of Light, which was absolutely beautiful. All the different lights, the blue, greens, the reds. It's very peaceful. And then with the sun coming up, it was gorgeous.
And this is a once in a lifetime um, opportunity that you should not miss. This was supposed to be there just for around 6 to 9 months, but they've extended this whole experience till the end of 2021. So, and I
Okay.
believe that they might even extend this further, because they've got a fabulous response. There have been tourists around the world who have been traveling to Ayers Rock and experiencing this Field of Light installation. Imagine 50,000 solar illuminated glass stems in the middle of a desert. It's really fantastic. So to answer that question, yes, we've got Rahul Bajaj who've answered that correctly. It's called the Uluru. So well done, Rahul. Congratulations, and keep answering the questions to win an amazing goodie bag. All right, so let's move on and move to the next state from the Northern Territory. Let's move on to the state of Western Australia. And Meeta Ben, you recently traveled to Western Australia, so we would love to hear your views on your experiences that you discovered on this fabulous island or fabulous state.
Sure. I was very much surprised by Western Australia, the capital city being Perth. We flew into Perth, and I was so amazed to see that it's a city, but it's not a city. It has all the infrastructure of a city, the offices, the buildings, and all the modern facilities, but without the chaos, without the crowds, without any commotion. So it was a city, but not a city. So all the good points of a city and none of the bad points of a city. So I really like Perth a lot. With the Swan River at its in its background, it made lovely picturesque sceneries around, and the gardens. It was really nice. I loved Perth. I think it's a great destination for a 3 nights, 4 nights, and especially since it's much nearer to our country. The flying hours is much less than the eastern coast. So Perth is a very much doable destination. Another thing I like very much about Perth is the Rottnest Island. You've been there, Nishant?
Yes, I've been to the Rottnest Island just a year ago, and it's really quite an amazing island.
Yeah. So
You need to talk about your experiences with one of the most happiest animal there.
Yes. Rottnest Island is about a 1 hour drive by ferry from the coast of Perth, and you can also reach there by flight. But the experience that you get at Rottnest, it's all about a small island which is 11 kilometers by 4.5 kilometers, wherein it is so power packed with activities. Like you can bike around the whole island, looking at the 60 odd beaches that are there. Then there are 20 bays in which you can see the corals and do snorkeling. So it can be a real power packed holiday in there. And the hop on hop off bus, which they have arranged to make the 18 different spots and the places, is truly amazing how they have managed the very nice tourism for a one nighter or a full day excursion over there. Just it's about pedal and flippers. Pedal with your bike and flipper with your snorkeling equipment, and you are off for the day. It's really amazing. Then the scenery around with the sea blue waters is really great. So I like Rottnest a lot. And Rottnest is all about the quokkas. The quokka is the native animal of Rottnest Island. That's how the island gets its name from, because it is like a bigger rat. The animal looks like a bigger rat, and the animal has the first inhabitants who discovered the island have given this name to it. So Rottnest is one must visit place. Another thing which was very appealing to me as a family destination was Margaret River Valley. Margaret River in the south of Perth. It's a very much a drivable distance and full of many activities. Winery is one of them, and very good places to stay in the wineries, have good food. I'm very fond of the countryside food of Australia, and wineries are the best places to have that. Then there is lot of coastal region, which is very interesting because it is full of the coastal region is full of the limestone caves, which have beautiful formations. Almost, I think 17 of them are there, which is out of that 3 or 4 are open to the public for viewing, and the lake cave is the best in it. So that experience for a child with the family it would be a great experience. Then going on the beaches of the coastline, the forest, the Burnup forest is great with the tall trees, and the low hill area makes a beautiful picnic spots for many people to go. So I think in all and all, it's a very good destination to go to for a family. And it's very drivable distance. There's also an underwater aquarium over there at Bustleton Bay, which is very interesting also. So I think one should make it a point to go to Western Australia if you all have already visited the Eastern Australia, and it won't displease you at all. It's an interesting place. What do you say, Nishant?
Absolutely. And one thing about Western Australia that I wish to highlight is just the size of that particular state. The state of Western Australia is almost 75% of the size of India, and with a population of just 10% of maybe of Mumbai or Delhi. So it's got a population of just around 2.5 or 2.6 million. and with a country which is almost like 70, or a state which is almost like 75% the size of India. Could just imagine. And we all talk about social distancing. It really happens naturally in Australia, and especially in Western Australia, because you hardly find any people. So if you want to drive in Australia, Western Australia is a great place to drive. And as you rightly said, you can drive south to Margaret River, you can drive up to Ningaloo Reef as well, and you can enjoy a nice tail drive holiday, especially if you've already covered the East Coast. West Coast is really equally popular as well among the tourists.
Ningaloo Reef looks interesting too.
Absolutely, but before that, let's play the Rottnest Island video and ask the question on
Yes.
the Rottnest Island quokka.
For the question, I would like to put in a question to my
I
viewers.
think I've given the answer. Maybe we need to possibly ask whether it's true or false that is the quokka, which is only found on Rottnest Island, the happiest animal on the planet. You can answer just,
After
is it true or is it false? Is the quokka the happiest animal on the planet? And then meanwhile, we can play the Rottnest.
How did I end up here? It started on the ferry ride from Perth to Rottnest Island. The dolphins knew how to get there. We couldn't resist diving into the... Oh, no, wait. First we checked out the island from above and then the water. We must have trekked that whole island from one end to the other. And just when I thought it couldn't get any better, I topped it off with a selfie with a quokka. It was
just another day in Western Australia.
Yeah, it is. I guess everybody has got that answer right. Yes, it is the most happiest animal on the planet because it's got this perpetual grin. And the moment you move closer towards the quokka to take a selfie, it smiles at you. It smiles to the camera, and there'll be a lot of celebrities, international celebrities like Roger Federer, Chris Hemsworth, very own, Harsha Bhogle and Parindeep Chopra have got a chance to, take that selfie with the quokka. So yes, it is the most happiest animal, and whenever you travel to Western Australia, you have to visit Rottnest Island and take a selfie with the quokka. So there's another interesting trivia about Australia that 80% of the wildlife that is existing in Australia can only be found in Australia, or that is native to Australia. So whether it's the kangaroos, whether it's the quokkas, whether it's the platypus, whether it's the Tasmanian devil, wombats, you don't find these animals anywhere else in the world. So for unique wildlife, and if you're like a wildlife enthusiast, Australia is the place to be. Talking about wildlife, there's an amazing experience that you could actually participate in the northern part of Western Australia, and that's the place called Ningaloo Reef. So on the eastern side, we have the Great Barrier Reef, and on the western side, we have the Ningaloo Reef. And in Ningaloo Reef, you can actually swim with whale sharks. You can swim with the manta rays, and you can also swim with the humpback whales. Now, these are like 15 to 20 meters, wide marine species, and it's an incredible experience swimming with them. They're absolutely friendly. They do not cause you any harm, and you can just experience that on this Ningaloo Reef video.
Wow.
Which is just going to play in a bit.
I told my mum we'd be snorkeling with fish because technically a whale shark is a fish. It is also the best thing I have ever done in my life. Plus there were other fish down there. Not you, obviously, but you, all of you, yes, and you too, of course. Ningaloo Reef. It was without doubt just another day in Western Australia.
Yay.
Isn't it amazing? I always say that Australia is the adventure capital of the world. In case you want to participate in any adventure activities underwater, in the air or on the land, Australia is the place to be. And these days youngsters are quite they have that adrenaline rush. They want to participate in this skydiving and bungee jumping and snorkeling and scuba diving and quad biking and four-wheel drives and all. There's no better place on earth than Australia to participate in all these adventure activities. And safety is of paramount importance. They really take safety quite seriously, and you can participate in all these activities without any fear. So even if you can't swim in the water, and most Indians do not swim, you can still snorkel. And there are instructors who can help you to snorkel and take you on that amazing journey of the underwater world. So yeah, that's all about the Ningaloo Reef and the adventure activities that Australia has to offer. All right, let's move on to the next state of South Australia. And we're going to talk about all different activities here and different states first, and then come back to our traditional states, which everybody knows, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, and maybe South Australia. So let's start off with South Australia now and talk about what unique things the state has to offer. And in particular, I would like to highlight two things. One is the city of Adelaide. It's quite a quaint little town, and this phenomenal experience that you're seeing on the screen, it's called the roof climb. You can actually climb the roof of the Adelaide Oval Cricket Stadium. And, incidentally, India is going to play the first pink ball day and night test on the 17th of December at the Adelaide Oval. So tune into your channels on Sony to watch this live series. And you can actually, climb this roof. And yes, it's a phenomenal experience as well. It's quite an adventurous activity, and then you can also lean back.
It's a very new hotel.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
New hotel. This is a very new hotel, top.
No, this is the roof of the Adelaide Oval Cricket Stadium. Okay. And they've also now opened up a hotel at the Adelaide Oval called the Oval Hotel. So you can actually watch a game as well from from the hotel. So it's quite an interesting experience, and we hope that the Indian cricket team wins the first test at the Adelaide Oval, the pink ball test that's going to be played on the 17th of December. So that's the Adelaide Oval experience that one should participate in. And another experience that I want to talk about is a visit to this island called Kangaroo Island. Now, Kangaroo Island is almost 7 times the size of Singapore, with a population of just 4,000 or 5,000 people. There are more kangaroos on this island, much more kangaroos on this island than the number of people residing on this particular island. So it's quite spectacular. You see the kangaroos and the koalas in the natural habitat. You see the amazing rock formations at Remarkable Rocks and the Admiral's Arch. You see, spot seals at Seal Bay. You can have dinner under a canopy of stars or in the middle of, nowhere, and have a wonderful barbecue lunch. It's got some amazing, spectacular scenery. And so if you're traveling on a honeymoon, you can actually travel to this place. You can either take a 15-minute short flight from Adelaide to Kangaroo Island, or you can also take your car in a ferry from Adelaide to this particular island. So it's a spectacular island. It's got some amazing beaches. And you should definitely visit this particular island if you're traveling to Australia next. So yeah, there's a short video that we have on Kangaroo Island. But before playing that particular video, let us ask you another question. It's a pretty interesting question where you need to tell us either it's a yes or a no, that in Australia you can watch a cricket match from the roof, from the pool or swimming pool, or from your bedroom of a hotel. All right. So let's play the Kangaroo Island video, and then let's see who's got that answers right. I must say it is quite pristine and just beautiful. Uh, so yes, Kangaroo Island, and you can just another interesting bit of trivia that the population of Australia is almost close to around 25 million, and the population of kangaroos in Australia is approximately 50 million. So there are twice the size of the human population in Australia. So
Talking
yes, I guess
about the
everybody's
population, I would like to share one detail.
yeah.
You should definitely know that the kangaroo, once get pregnant, remains pregnant for the rest of its life. So when one joey is born, there's already another one developing inside, so that kangaroo remains pregnant throughout the life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the marsupial kangaroo's specialty.
Great. And I guess everybody's got that question, right? And yes, you can watch a cricket match in Australia from all the three places. So you can watch a game from the swimming pool at the Gabba, the stadium in Brisbane. You can watch a game from the roof of the Adelaide Oval Cricket Stadium as well. And I had the privilege of watching the day one of the Adelaide Oval Test match in 2018. From the roof of the Adelaide Oval. And yes, there's a hotel that is now built at the Adelaide Oval called the Oval Hotel. So you can also watch a match from your bedroom or from your bed. That overlooks the stadium. So yes, everybody's got that question right. Let's move on to another state from South Australia. Let's move to
And
the
they're
state of
coming down to Victoria.
to the state of Victoria. Yes, and Meeta Ben, tell us about your favorite experiences in the city of Melbourne and the Great Ocean Road.
Actually, I want to share that that was the first state I visited in Australia, and that was way back 20 years back. And I think that is Australia was one of the first countries internationally that I had visited, and directly into going into Melbourne, the city being the best, one of the best livable cities to live in, had really, really impressed me very much. And of course, the next day after landing itself, we were on the Great Ocean Road to experience the 12 apostles. And you can imagine, because I am very much a nature lover, so it was really impressive to see the 12 apostles, and we had even done the flight of the 12 apostles. So the 12 apostles on the Great Ocean Road, which is about 243 kilometers in length, is a great experience. The drive is great. The points of interest are great. The sunset is gorgeous. You can see one of them here, but the Great Ocean Road is the best thing to do in Australia. And especially if you are having the time and the intention, it should be done on a self drive with one night stay at either Apollo Bay or one of the points in between, so that you get the full experience of the places and you get time to spend in each and every lovely spots that are there. And
Yeah. Another interesting factor about self-drive in Australia is the fact that an Indian driving license in English is valid in Australia, so you do
yeah,
not need an international driver's permit.
yeah.
Two, you drive on the same side of the road as you drive in India, so you do not have to adjust on which direction you are driving. And third, all the cars are of right-hand drive type or right-hand drive variety. So again, you do not have that complication of switching from a right-hand drive to a left-hand drive car. So it's pretty easy. And with GPS and good signages and Google Maps, it's really easy to drive all over Australia. And Great Ocean Road is like one of the most spectacular drives in the world, where you're driving along the edge of the world, edge of the ocean for almost 243 kilometers. And I've done that on numerous occasions, so I can keep doing that every time I go to Australia.
It's truly the edge of the world, because from there on right up to the Antarctica, there is no landmass. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's
So
one of the most spectacular drives, and a must for every honeymooner. In a nice convertible car could be hired, and you can drive along the Great Ocean Road. You can go right up to Adelaide as well, or drive back from Adelaide to Melbourne via the Great Ocean Road.
Yes. And another very interesting experience in Australia, in Melbourne, is also the Phillip Island with the penguins. You generally visit there at the dusk, when the penguins come out of the water, and they ensure that only it is after it is dark they come out of the water to go into their dens. This was an amazing experience for me, very humbling to see all the penguins walking like teddy bears to their places was really amazing. Actually, I would like to share to all the people that this you can even see live every day, because there is live on YouTube. In fact, today we saw 100 and almost 1,000 penguins are coming these days. So this is an experience you can see on YouTube as well. It's a great experience to see this. MCG is another very interesting and next to the hearts of Indians. The cricket ground, Melbourne Cricket Ground as it is called. It's one of the biggest in Australia. That was really impressive.
Yes. And I recently got a chance to watch the finals of the ICC T20 Women's World Cup on the 8th of March, International Women's Day, with
Wow.
almost close to 87,000 people cheering for women. And it was one of the most spectacular games. The atmosphere was really electrifying. And India is going to play the Boxing Day test on the 26th of December this year. And they're going to allow spectators, up to 25,000 spectators, to watch the game from the stadium itself. And so is the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground, and the Adelaide Oval as well. So the situation in the COVID situation in Australia significantly improved, and there've been number of days where they haven't had any new addition or any new infections. So it's a much safer place. Meeta Ben, as you rightly said, Australia's got quite a few livable cities in the world. So Melbourne was consistently ranked as the #1 livable city in the world for 7 consecutive years. And apart from Melbourne, you've got Sydney, Perth, and Adelaide featuring in the top 10 livable cities in the world. So in terms of safety, security, infrastructure, facilities, good transport system, good education, or universities in Australia, I guess Australia is right up there. So it should be one of the destinations for, not just for holiday, but also for international education that you should consider.
Okay, so the question for this state is, what is the capacity of the Melbourne Cricket Ground? Let's get the answers and we'll play the video in between. Yes.
All right.
Got any answers?
Have you got any answers so far? So
Okay.
MCG is, oh yeah, Rahul has got that answer right. It's 124,000. It's a 167-year-old stadium. Can you beat that? Australia is so much active into sports that they constructed a stadium that could possibly take over 100,000 people on 167 years ago. But yeah, I mean, everybody's got that answer right. And there's an interesting trivia as well. You guys have now beaten Melbourne and constructed the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Stadium in Motera, which can take over 100,000. I think it can take up to around 110,000 people, right?
Yes.
So yes, earlier MCG was the largest stadium with that could take the highest number of spectators, but I guess Motera now can accommodate more number of spectators in that particular stadium. So that's great. So moving on from the state of Victoria to this wonderful heart-shaped island called Tasmania. And Meeta Ben, I heard your son and daughter-in-law Siddharth and Mukti went on a self-drive holiday in Tasmania on their honeymoon.
Yes, very
right?
true. And the way they were talking about it, I said, I just want to go at the same moment.
Absolutely. So we should encourage a lot of your customers to self-drive in Tasmania as well, because it's a beautiful island. In fact, it's got one of the most freshest air on the planet. It's this absolutely pollution-free, and you can breathe fresh air in this place called Cape Grim. which is at the northernmost strip of Tasmania. But you can have a wonderful self-drive experience from driving from Hobart to this place called Wineglass Bay. You can take a scenic flight there, drive along to Cradle Mountain. From Cradle Mountain, come to Launceston, experience some lavender fields there. Got some amazing food and wine experiences. And I think that I wish to highlight is the fact that whilst some of these videos are only talking about seafood, Australia has got some amazing produce, and vegetarian food is easily available in Australia. There are a lot of Indian restaurants as well in Australia. But when you've watched MasterChef Australia and seen all some fabulous recipes being cooked by George, Gary, and Matt, I guess you would definitely fall in love with Australian food whenever you travel there.
I would
So
totally agree with you, Nishant. We have had I'm totally vegetarian, and we have had some fabulous food there.
yes.
Not possible. In fact, Indian food in Australia is better than India sometimes.
But when you travel to Australia, you should try the local delicacies, because Australia is a melting pot of different cultures, and people around different parts of the world have come to Australia and called Australia home. So you should go and try different cuisines, whether it's Italian, French, Greek, the local Australian cuisine as well, Chinese, Southeast Asian cuisine. It's fabulous. I'm sure you're going to put on some extra kgs when you travel back from Australia after having such sumptuous meal every day.
And I am particularly found out the country food over there. The wineries and the countryside food is really very good.
Yes, so you should definitely experience the Australian food and wine culture whenever you travel there next. All right, so we have an interesting question now, and a lot of people do not really associate Australia with snow. There are regions in Australia which gets more snow than Switzerland, than the Swiss Alps. So you got to tell us maybe any one region in Australia where you can experience snow and you can actually go skiing during winter. We don't have a video for that, but we'll let
Get
our
answers.
your fans and followers start typing their answers. So name any one region in Australia where you could actually experience snow and participate in skiing.
I just want to say that this place, I'm not going to give you the name, but this place is very near to the coast. So what happens is it gets a lot of precipitation in the form of snow because it's at a height. So the snow in all is much more than Switzerland.
Yeah, so Kuldeep and Nikita have got the answers right. It's Mount Buller, and it's just a 2.5, 3 hour drive from the city of Melbourne. They can experience snow and participate in a lot of skiing activities. There's a place called Perisher, which is around 7 hours drive from the city of Sydney. You can participate in some activities there as well. And in Tasmania, you can go to Mount Wellington, which is just a half an hour drive from the city of Hobart. So experience snow, because when it gets quite hot in Gujarat and in India during the months of April, May, June, and maybe beyond June as well. That's the time beyond June to October. You can actually participate in a lot of winter activities in Australia in these regions. So yes, Australia gets more snow than
We
Swiss
should
Alps.
also highlight that we can see the Aurora Australis in the south
Yes,
in Tasmania, which is very
absolutely.
unique.
Yeah. So in winters
Southern-
between June and maybe August, September, you can also experience Aurora Australis. That's the Australian answer to Northern Lights. So you can also experience Southern Lights in the state of or in the state of Tasmania. All right. So let's move on quickly to the state of or the state or the territory of Canberra, which everybody feels that it's Sydney that's the capital of Australia, but it's not. It's Canberra that's the capital of Australia, and you can self-drive either from Sydney or Melbourne. From Melbourne, it's around 7 hours. From Sydney, it's approximately around 3.5 hours, and there are a lot of attractions there, like the Parliament House, the Australian War Memorial, the National Gallery, and the National Museum of Australia, which could be experienced. And you can they do not charge any entrance fees to these attractions, so you can actually go and watch. You can possibly visit the War Memorial and have a good time there. But one of the key experiences that I wish to highlight, and when you go to Canberra, you should stay in this place called the Jamala Wildlife Lodge. Now, I mentioned earlier that 80% of the wildlife is only found in Australia, but you can also find the African wildlife in Australia. And when you stay at the Jamala Wildlife Lodge, you can actually sleep with the lions or or the cheetahs or the panthers or the tigers or the giraffe, and there's just a partition between you and them. So it's a beautiful experience that should not be missed. And so it's not just the Australian wildlife, but you can also experience the African wildlife in Australia, in Canberra. So we'll play this nice video of the Jamala Wildlife Lodge. And the question that you need to answer is that we have for you is, can you watch a live parliament session in Australia at the Australian Parliament House? Yes or no? Wildlife.
That was really nice.
Yes, and I guess a lot of our friends have given the right answer. Yes, you can watch a live parliament session at the Australian Parliament House. Australians are very warm, welcoming, and inviting. They do not have this kind of they do not follow any kind of an hierarchy, or it's quite egalitarian in that sense, where a driver and a plumber or a peon gets the same respect as much as what a CEO or an owner of the company gets. So, yes, you can watch a live parliament session in Australia. All right. So moving on from Canberra to Sydney, and yeah, this is a view. It's $1 million view, and every time I go to Australia, I have to. It's like going to a temple, and वो पैर पैरी पौना जैसे कहते हैं. It's like you
Very
have to
true.
go and witness these two majestic icons, the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Another experience I wish to highlight, which is quite unique, is the farmers market, which is a local market which is set up over the weekends at this place called the Rocks, which has the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House as well. And you can buy some local stuff, some local souvenirs from the locals out there. You can indulge in some street food experiences as well. Another thing, which every Indians love, is about chocolates. We all say that Indians have a sweet tooth, but I would say that Gujaratis have an extra sweet tooth. So whenever you go to Australia next, and Sydney in particular, you should go to these chocolate cafes. There's a Lind cafe there. There's a Gillian Belgian chocolate bar. There's a Max Brenner, which is my personal favorite. There's Coco Black. There's a Koi Desert bar. So there are a lot of these chocolate bars. There are a lot of chocolate factories that you can visit along the Great Ocean Road, or en route to Phillip Island or Yarra Valley, or even in Tasmania. You can visit the Cadbury's chocolate factory, buy some amazing chocolates for your friends and families on your way back. And this is one experience that should not be missed. So that's about Sydney and New South Wales. And I would now request Meeta to talk about Queensland and a recent visit to Brisbane as well.
Another interesting and the most one of the biggest states of Australia, Queensland, is amazing. It's the diversity and the geographical features that are there over here are amazing. The last time on my last visit, I was amazed to see Brisbane as a city, and it really took my breath away to see the Brisbane River and the ferry system that they have. Like, this is like a local bus we have here. The metro bus we have over here, the city ferry works like that. It goes from one point to another within the Brisbane River and in the city. So it is so nice. It's like an hop and hop of ferry. It was really amazing to see this. The city itself is around the Brisbane River and the South Banks, and the way they have developed the South Bank as a tourist place is really amazing. There's even a swimming pool right in the middle of the city center where they have created an artificial beach inside that. So small kids love to play there and love to understand what a beach place is. So I think these things are making the Brisbane city a very interesting place. Another very interesting place that is a must visit for everybody who goes here is the Eat Street. Now, Eat Street is a big playground in which they have put these shacks or trawlers with different stalls for food. It's a marketplace for multi-cuisine places where small restaurant people or small housewives come down in the evenings to sell their products. And it's all about food and food. It's called Eat Street, with lots of music, lots of groups of people come here to enjoy. There's dancing, then there is puzzles going on, then there is some magic shows going on, and overall a very, very lively evening you can spend here. Eat Street is what I would recommend. And there are Indian food stalls as well. Vegetarian food is widely available. So I think in all a very great experience where you can see the locals and intermingle with the locals. So I think this is a must do in Brisbane. And another interesting thing, just outside, there are a lot of places just outside Brisbane which has a lot of things to do. One of the things I was very fond of was the Sirome winery, which is about 1.5 hours from Brisbane. The food here was amazing. The places, the lawns and the vine areas and the vine growing trees was really made a perfect scene for honeymooners. The accommodation is the highlight over here. They have made these tented accommodation. Tented accommodation, wherein, see, on the stilts they have done these tents, and the tents have all the luxuries that you can possibly think of. In fact, there is even a stove, there is a washing machine, and you can have long stays here. It's amazing. See how neat and clean and interesting it looks. It was truly a very comfortable stay here. And once in the morning, you could see the kangaroos having their breakfast just outside the lawn. And it was really truly a nature fulfilling experience. So I would recommend Sirome glamping grounds in Queensland. And yes, it is truly a great experience. There is one place here where you can do indoor golfing, top golf as it is called. That is also a very great experience for family holiday or family who are transferring themselves from Gold Coast to Brisbane Airport. And if they have, say, 4-5 hours in between, they can go to this place called golf, where they can spend 4 to 5 hours easily practicing golf of different age, different people. So, you can get points on the number of bowls that you do. And it's very interesting. It's called Top Golf, a must visit. So in all, it has very many interesting things in Brisbane as well, which was a surprise to me. I highly recommend Brisbane and its surrounding area for that.
You need at least a month to travel to Australia if you to visit all the 8 states. So,
Very true. So
once you're
true.
out of lockdown, and if you need a good holiday, a complete holiday, Australia is the place to be.
Yes, true. And the next question for us is again concerning the bridge. What is where can you do the Brisbane bridge climb? What is the name of that bridge?
Meeta, when Australians love to climb a lot of icons. They climb stadiums, they climb bridges, they climb some buildings as well. Earlier, a year ago, you could also climb the Ayers Rock, the Uluru. So there are a lot of places that you can actually climb in Australia, and it's quite an exciting and adventurous experience.
Acha.
So let's wait for the answer. But
Just
in the
to
meanwhile,
share
till we
you a fact that the Sydney Bridge climb has 106 1,600 steps, I believe.
yeah,
And,
it's a soft adventure activity. Sometimes we feel that it's a 2.5 hour, or even 3.5 hour experience, and whether I'll be able to manage it. But it's even somebody who's got a pretty, a non-active lifestyle, can actually do the bridge climb. It is quite spectacular.
and the Brisbane Bridge climb has around 1,100 steps, 1,138 to be precise.
Yes. And it's called the Story Bridge Climb. Yes, Rahul Bajaj has been answering quite a lot of questions, and so is Kuldeep. And so well done, guys. Meeta Ben, there's a common question that is asked every time, to me, that why should somebody travel to Australia?
Okay.
There are almost like 195 countries on this planet, and why should we only travel to Australia? Now, you know, there's one thing about Gujarati, and then one thing about Indians in particular is the fact that we all travel in generations. We travel with our parents, we travel with our kids, we travel with our grandparents, our grandkids as well. And Australia is one destination that offers everything for everyone. So right from the reef to the rainforest, to the cities, to the outback, to adventure, to romance, to self-drive, to some nice glamping experiences, to amazing wildlife, and most importantly, great food and wine experiences, or food and drinks that you could that you could enjoy. So there's everything right from art, history, culture, architecture that this country has to offer. So this is like a one complete holiday experience for the entire family. So if you're
Nishant, I
traveling
want
with
to
the
add
family,
one thing.
sure.
It's people.
Yes,
People
absolutely. And
are
people,
amazing. They are so friendly. They have mixed themselves into such a culture that they are a multicultural society coming from 200 countries, all migrated. Very nice people. The
exactly.
amalgamation
Exactly.
is so great.
Absolutely, and that's one reason. So it's like a full spread of a buffet meal in a nice 5 to 7 star hotel, and it's got best of everything. Everything is world class. All the activities, the attractions, the wildlife. It's unique to Australia, and you cannot find such experiences any other part of the world. And that's the only reason we say there's truly nothing like Australia.
Yes, very true. Hope you have got lots of points to be checklisted the next time you visit Australia.
And,
Everybody.
and next time you travel to Australia, it has to be with Flamingo only. And then Meeta Ben and the team would be delighted to plan your holiday. And in case you need any assistance from Tourism Australia, we're always just a phone call or an email away.
Thank you, Nishant. Thank you for taking time for us. I hope you all have had a wonderful time today.
Do we
Thank
have
you.
a winner? Do we have the winner of the contest, or somebody who's answered the maximum number of questions correctly?
Yeah, I think it's Rahul. Rahul and Kuldeep, there's a tie.
Okay, well done, Rahul and Kuldeep.
So I think we need to split the goodies between the two of them.
And we'll send them 2 separate goodie bags. Don't worry.
Yeah, give them a big hand.
Well done, Rahul, and well done, Kuldeep. Brilliant job.
Thank you so much, Nishant.
Thank you very much, Mitaben. Absolute privilege and an honor to be on this show with you. And we just hope that the world recovers at the soonest. And as soon as it recovers, plan your trip to Australia.
That's the only thing we are waiting for. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye bye.